Oh, hello, my sweet. So won't you come with me? There's oh so much to show in this grimdark distillery. So if you like bullshit or want some hobby tips, this nightmare priest and binary herald magnificent welcomes you. Hello, Mowgli. Good morning, Vietnam. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to be working on grief. It took me a little bit longer to get set up today. I've been trying to do a whole bunch of stuff and then lost track of time, as it happens. One of the things that I wanted to show before I start, though, is this guy. So I started working on this yesterday. This is part of the scenery that I'm making for the. I wasn't expecting the musical number. Oh yeah, I always do the song every intro. But not everyone's here in the beginning, so they often miss it. But I always try to make sure I sing it after people are like, "I really like that," and I was like, "Thanks." But no. Good morning, Roz. Good morning, Mowgli. Wonderful to have you. Got to turn notifications on. That's yeah. I don't understand how notifications work for a lot of stuff, so I completely get that. I don't know when I gained like 50 something subscribers in like 2 days, but that's kind of wild for me because I've just been like, yeah. Again, that's not like, oh man, people are watching me. It's just like, I really appreciate that. I don't know where you all came from, but thank you. I appreciate people finding value in what I do. But yeah, so this pretty much, I haven't done any washes or anything yet. But this was just, I put all the texture on all of the terrain that I printed, and then I pretty much went outside and I really think I wanted to try to do as much with spray paint as I could because it's just so much faster. So I wanted to get a pretty good range of different colors as my base. So I used lots of different paints, and I don't have them down here, but I'll go grab them whenever I go pee, because it's gonna happen. I can deny it no longer. I do have to urinate. Sometimes, not right now. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Just pretty much a bunch of grays and browns and creams, light grays and browns. And then pretty much I'm gonna go over it with a wash, and it really should make a whole bunch of a pop. Here's a couple more. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how they look so far. They'll handle washes really well. Thank you. Yeah, the texture's nuts. I've been pretty much doing that. It's very similar to how I do the demons as far as, and terrain. Terrain and the demons like have the same kind of texture to them. And by the demons, I mean just the ones that are not finished, because I wanted them to have a very rough, not there all the way look. And the only way I could really think about how to visualize that would be to lock in the core concepts that you see, which is how they're described in the lore. And then everything gets a little coat that makes it somewhat fuzzy, because I really wanted to try to, how do you convey that something is not fully there other than making it fully not finished? And then also I wanted them to have that look that it's like if you look at something out of the corner of your eye, it doesn't look perfectly right. That's why they have all that texture. And once I start finishing them, that's one of the first things to go. Is I take the I take a something to grind some of that texture down, and then I'll build on top of that, like I did with frustration. So, oh boy, I'm already really thirsty. I've been running around like a little crazy person. Speaking of little crazy people, none of my kids are down here. But don't you worry, they are crazy. Okay, so grief. I'm excited to work on grief today. We got a good amount done yesterday, and then today we got a whole lot more too. So yeah, that's another thing that I had. I moved them somewhere. Where did I move them? They're over there. Yeah, I'm trying to get everything done for the Fall of Rothenburg, So I was also in the process of trying to throw together all the models that I need to play that. So I don't know why I got up to come over here to show you that, because, you know, it's just a bunch of pieces of shit. Doesn't look like anything right now. But be that as it may, that's what I was working on this morning. And I thought about, hey, do we want to work on that? And I was like, everybody wants grief. Everybody loves grief. I missed the others, but I'm glad to hear of grief. Oh, wonderful. No, yeah, me too. So I've not, I'm very glad you're here as well. I worked on finishing frustration, but I didn't record making any of them, because it is definitely a process, because I have to be in a very certain mindset to start dealing with them, because they're all so personal. But it's like a lengthy process of fully analyzing what they are and what they mean to me, um, in order to make sure that the idea in my head, I keep building with that. The initial image will just kind of be put in my head, and I have to like do the best that I can to replicate that. But then typically while I am working on them, I also am really thinking about them from as many angles as I can to try and build that character even further, which really is, this one is the hardest one with that. The others, it's just like I've pulled the images out. I know roughly what they mean, but going through grief, since grief is kind of really the parent, like in the mythology of them all, of all of them, it's like a deep dive into understanding each one of them. Some could say it's frustrating. Yeah. But very nice. Yes, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to finish grief, and I'm really excited to show it on screen. That way, other people can see it, and eventually, I'll probably edit it, and I'll make whatever to make it easier for people to view. But yeah, so let's get into it. Greeblin and Grebo are going. They're working hard. Got my nice little background noise. Oh boy. Yeah, this is going to be tricky, but we can make it work. I think I forgot some paper in here. You know. Yeah, I see it. I see it in there. Ooh, it's just floating around there in the bottom. That is good. Let's slap that on a finger. Slap it on a finger. Okay, this might be too sloppy. Yeah, it might be too sloppy. It might have soaked for too long. It's just trying to fall apart. And I don't think I'll be able to glue it. Yeah, so what we're gonna do first, that's not gonna work. It needs to be dry when it goes on, and then we need to get it really wet. So we pretty much need to take a bunch of small pieces to make fingers with. And we're gonna super glue those on initially. And then we will lead to basting them. Cooking with Eli. You can't eat it. It's not for eating. Don't eat the grief. Okay, come on. Basting. Okay. Super glue. You're being a little dramatic today. I'm gonna need you to not. Ain't nobody got time for that. Maybe. Yeah, well, that was super glue, all right. Just fucking went everywhere. Alrighty, so now we're gonna start grabbing some little small pieces. Get back here. Super glue. Okay. One. Two. I'm gonna have to clean up these tweezers. They're not sticking because there's a whole bunch of stuff in between the teeth. So let's do that real quick. It's almost like playing around in super glue mess eventually has a buildup on your tools. I suppose that's to be expected. But what do I know? Alrighty, and then, yeah, that's good, that's good. Alrighty, and I can zoom in a little bit more. I'll move this right there, that way we can see a little bit better what I'm doing. Yeah. So pretty much, I'm going to put super glue on the whole finger for each of these, and then I'm going to, we need these to be smaller a little bit. Put the paper on, let it sit for just a second. Don't forget it. And bring it around town. And then when I get all of this wet, it should naturally kind of fall around it, and I'll just kind of work with that as well. Skin. I don't think I ever showed, so before I do this, I don't think that I've shown one of my favorite cloaks that I've made. And it was absolutely the most time inclusive. It took the most amount of time. I'm not sure if I'm using that word right, so I won't use it. I'll go grab him. But my favorite cloak that I've made is one of my Emperor's children. Come on, give me the tray. Thank you. I just saw it. Where are you? There you are. Huzzah. And it's not just because of the cloak itself, but I guess the idea that went in behind it. So I figured I'd show this since we're talking about fabric, and I talked about that yesterday. Yeah, this, time intensive. There we go. Thank you. Thank you. My words, they escape me. So this is the commander of my Emperor's Children 30K force, specifically for Zone Mortalis. I'm very pleased with how he turned out. I put a lot of work into this one. The main thing that I spent a lot of time on is, I mean, all of it. It's really an over-the-top kind of, come on. There we go. Sick, dude. Mine would look like melted plastic. Hell yeah. No, I mean, I love pretty much any kind of conversion that like matches the chaos and whatnot, but this one I really tried to put in as much detail as I could, and man, I'm trying to make that look clear. There we go. So it's kind of hard to tell because again, the camera will not focus, but his head is a splice of a bunch of different models. I did a digital splicing of a couple different faces, and the thing that I really liked was, it's hard to tell because again, this is so small and I can't even get the detail, but his cheeks are pulled back because I took a model of a mouth that was like very opening up, kind of like a Mawlock, like a Tyranid Mawlock, how they have that big mouth that expands. I'm trying to think of an animal, I mean a snake, kind of like a snake mouth. It's a snake's mouth, it's unhinged. I took that, and when I merged it, when I merged it, it overlapped to where it looked like his mouth was being pulled, and I was like, oh, I can play with that. So I made sure that I removed the teeth in the snake's mouth. So it's just the skin and the muscle inside the mouth being pulled. And then I put little hooks in, and there's Margot hair in there, so you can't really see. But the hooks are connected with little rope. Same thing with up here on his eyes. His eyelids are hooked, pulled open, and there's a string that essentially runs around the back through the armor. So whenever he turns his head, I imagine that there is a mechanism somewhere in there that the string is only so long. So no matter which angle he turns his head, it pulls his face into this awful rictus grin that just changes based on where he's looking. The thing that I really went a little ham on is his cloak. I wanted to make a cloak that was very clearly made out of stitched together skin, and I have long ago realized, man, plastic does not do what I want it to do. So I was like, foil, I couldn't do paper because I needed to stitch it. So foil allowed me to poke very small holes and then cut close to the holes on a bunch of small pieces, and then I took copper wire and I literally stitched them together like they would be done. And I'm really, really happy how it turned out because it looks like a cloak of flesh. And then I also really like the little detail down here. But one of the heads is one of the trophies. Actually, there's a couple. There's a couple trophies that, and it's a reoccurring theme that I wanted to keep through my Emperor's Children. But the head has clearly a flayed face, and then a side that's just by like skull. And I really wanted that. The idea is to build off of that, as it is like someone from the Iron Hands from the Drop Site Massacre, that they have removed the flesh, and by that they mean the machine and then also the flesh. So it's just, I kind of wanted to explain that and just also put a little bit of more narrative into it, like to explain who these guys are, what time it is of the heresy. But really the whole idea behind my group, which is called the Weeping Canvas, is that they believe that Fulgrim has left them because they have not become perfect yet. So it takes place during the time period that Fulgrim is in exile before the Siege of Terra. They have left to go create a work of art that will bring the Phoenician back to them, and that is the entire purpose that my little group in our narrative world exists, is to create a work of art called the Weeping Canvas, and it be so powerful that Fulgrim decides to leave like Slaaneish's realm and join them again and claim them as sons. And the first game that we played, Ed and I did a lot of narrative and role play, but the horror that Ed fully like experienced when he realized, oh man, they think that we're here to help with the play, and there's nothing that we can say to convince them otherwise because they're that insane and deluded. They're like, oh, you clearly see the great work. Yes, yes, yes. We would love to have you. We would love to collaborate. And that's just so Emperor's Children to me, and just horrifying, the insane level of self-delusion that only comes from like achieving or like attempting to find perfection. Like you can only do that for so long until you become an insane person. So yeah, that's the big idea behind my Emperor's Children. At some point, I will revisit that. There's just so many other. Well, thank you. There's so many other things that I want to finish first, especially smaller games that don't ask as much work from the players, and that's why skirmish games are absolutely my favorite. And I've not played Necropolis yet, so I can't weigh in on it, but I can't stress enough, if you really like, hey, what would Eli like in a game? I want him to like what I make. It's just like, make it to where I have to only have few models, the fewer things that I have to make to play the game whenever I want to and feel like I'm still getting the game that I initially started playing. the better. I love a game that just respects a player's time. And I also love a game that, and this is on a different level of storytelling, but it absolutely is one of the reasons that I love FromSoft games so much, is it made me okay with missing part of the story. And I say that as someone that is still fighting that. The urge to want to get all of the story is very strong because of the amount of time that it puts in. But I do love the realism, I guess, of, yeah, you did miss a little bit of the story because you didn't know that you needed to go talk to this one guy and he has something to say about whatever's going on. And that's just so real. It adds a layer of realism to it that you can step around, but I think it's really hard, and I often get too wound up in thinking about how much time it takes that I try to figure out, like, okay, well, where do I need to go from here? And it's just like I'm really working on trying to not do that, to enjoy the game, let it just happen to me. And I think that's it. Maybe that's what my rant is or not rant, but my takeaway from here is, shit, I lost it. My takeaway was, we can't experience everything. I think that's it. We can't experience everything. And the more that we let art happen to us and try to figure out with the best of our ability, I think the more we grow. But it's also uncomfortable. And I think being like, man, I want to make sure that I do everything so I can really beat the game, that is a mindset that I often have and I'm trying to get out of. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. Can't stress enough. Any revelation that seems like, oh man, that's pretty heavy. A lot of times they just happen while I'm yapping. And then the other times it's just like, oh, I thought about this while I was yapping to my wife. I'll share it with people I think would appreciate it. So that's a little bit of the self-realization there for you. I still am struggling with that because I want to make sure I use my time to the most effective method. And I think that ends up robbing me of the experience of playing through the world that is crafted so intricately that I miss the realism of it, despite my attempts to not. Huh. That's a thought. That's a thought. Fear of missing out, that's it. I have to complete everything. Every dialogue option, every trophy, it's bad, I know. No, that's the same. And then I'm like, okay, if you give me trophy, I don't like this about myself because I understand that it's just like, man, that's something innately like human about me that I don't, or not human, I don't know. But the compulsion, I love to finish a game all the way through. And then once I've got all the trophies, it's just like, there's few games that I go back to play over and over and over again. And if you're looking for the number one, it's Bloodborne. I platinumed that years ago, and it's still my favorite game. And I still go back and I play it whenever I'm like, I really want to play Bloodborne, because there's just nothing else really captures that game for me in the way that it did. It was the first intro to the FromSoft series that I have. I'm a butterfly when it comes to games. I think stemming from having alternate weekends at my dad and constantly restarting because I forgot where I was. That. I can relate to that so much. And FromSoft absolutely accentuates that because their games are not typically games you can just pick up and be like, oh yeah, I remember that, Roz. That's how I am when it comes to books. Yeah, so many you're finally awakes. Yeah, I'm finally awake. You're finally awake. That's good. I like that. When I think of, man, how many times have I heard that? The thing that, and I'll say it to Kelly all the time. Often when we're in public and I'm like, hey, I'm going to run over here real quick. And then I'll look at her and I'll just be like, this will only take a second. Cling! Which is the first real asshole that you meet in Sekiro. And by first real asshole you meet, I mean the first guy that I'm not going to believe you if you tell me that you could beat him on your first 25 tries. I'm not going to believe you. I'm going to be like, I think you're lowballing. Because I do think that guy killed me more than any other boss. And the thing that is so frustrating about it is there's a cutscene right before the boss fight, as always. But the cutscene is fucking rad. It's the dude. It's when you first find the young lord, and you show up, and that's what he says. He says, "Excuse me, my young lord. This will only take a minute." Then he undoes his like sword, and it's just like so fucking cool. And then I get my ass handed to me. I love that also. Just the excuse me, my young lord. This will only take a second. Cling. Oh fuck! I'm dead. Just over and over and over. But yeah, I really, really, really want to go back and finish Sekiro. But yeah, that's a little old man in a world where the young die will always stomp you. Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That old dude stuff, man. They know all the secrets. You agree, Margot? I heard an agreement from the distance. In the distance. Margot. Princess. Hello. Where I'm over here. You know where I am. Why are you pretending like you don't know where I am? She likes to do that. I raised my little fluffy children to know to use their imaginations. What can I say? That, or it's just clearly a... Where even are you? Margot can throw her voice. I don't know if I've ever talked about that, but Margot legitimately, I think, knows how to and can choose to throw her voice. But she does it often. Like, she can make it sound like she's in another room when she's, like, right next to you. And she's the only one that can do that, like, with my cat. Honey, where are you? Are you just sitting at the very top of the stairs? Are you upstairs? Yes, there you are. Hey, princess. Hi. Hi, did you want to come say hi to everyone? Okay, Mowgli and Roz are here. You're welcome. You're invited. Sometimes Margot plays by vampire rules, like old vampire rules. Like where you have to invite her in. And I never really know when she's in that vibe. Hi, Margot. It's the Jumbo Show. Boo 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 boo. See, that's the difference between me and RedWetSkeleton. I'm like, okay, it's time to put you back. Okay, back to the ocean. That's what I would do. Not just one. You got to give them all the kisses. I need more RedWetSkeleton shows. I'm running out of hope. Instead, though, we watched Sam came over last night, and we were going to play some 1490 Doom. We did not. Salem's Lot. The Salem Lot. I'm not familiar with Salem Lot. I'm not a big Stephen King guy. His writing, his storytelling is very different from mine, in that he likes good to win, and I have a very strong habit of making sure that, like, the stories I tell leave you feeling pretty empty, because I want you to think about things, and not just be like, it'll work out. So there are some of his stories that I really like, and then a lot of his like most loved ones I've not experienced. Vampire movie, it's corny, but I like it. And see, I'm down. Like, I love vampires. Which, speaking of vampires, what did we watch? We watched something recently. No. No, it wasn't vampires. I don't remember. I don't remember. We watch a lot of horror movies. My wife and I love horror. It's just a good. It's just good. It's just a good. Oh grief. Oh good grief. But yeah, no. The Shining, and this is another thing that people really like to disagree with me about. um, Especially my former coworker Jackie, who I love. I love Jackie so much. Um, she loves horror, but she likes horror that is like very optimistic ending. And she always gave me grief about that. Just how I like a story where it's just like, oh yeah, the Beatles get smashed, and that I really do, because I don't think that we see that enough. But it's such a more brutal. It's a brutally honest depiction, I think, of a lot of. It's a brutally honest reflection of the artist who made something. You can see more in that when like it doesn't just have a happy ending that just kind of happens, and you're like, why the hell did that happen? Do you remember your first horror movie? Yes, the first horror movie I ever saw. So the first one that I saw, like that I chose to watch, I think was, and it depends. It depends. It's hard because I definitely watched what I would say is now horror, um, but at the time it's sci-fi, so it's hard to tell from there. But I think the first horror movie I attempted to watch, it was an old black and white horror movie. I know The Creature from the Black Lagoon was one of them, but see, that's not really horror. It's definitely horror, but it's not. I never experienced like horror dread. The first horror movie that I watched was Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever is, which is weird to think about, but that one really got me, and I can't stress enough. The thing that got me was not the movie itself. There's definitely parts in it that's just like, oh man, that fucked me up probably. The teeth. Everybody remembers the teeth from that movie, and I mean that's very much clearly something that affected me, because like I make references or nods to that with so many of my really messed up art. Like all the Emperor's Children that I've got have some kind of like mask. Cabin Fever is a fun one. Yeah, it's. I did not. I was very sheltered from like horror because I have always been drawn to it, um, especially like sci-fi horror, like Alien. Alien is my jam. I did not see Alien until after I had seen quite a few horror movies. And it took me. I had to be a little bit older before I could like finish it and watch it. And then when I sat down to watch it, um, after watching The Thing, after I watched The Thing for the first time, and it became my favorite movie ever. Um, I pretty much was just like, what is another movie that I need to watch if I love The Thing? John Carpenter's The Thing. So the very first one that everyone was like, Alien. Same. My fist was the mist. My first was The Mist. I remember my step up turning my eyes. Oh man. I was gonna say now, as far as Stephen King that I like, I love The Mist. The Mist, the ending to The Mist is one of my favorite movie endings because it leaves you with a sense of just, it's a lasting, like, man, that's fucked. Like, you see that happen and you're just like, oh my gosh, how could this be any worse? And apparently the book is even more disturbing. Like, it even is even more like no hope. Um, but I've not read the book, and I have read The Shining and Doctor Sleep, and I do enjoy them. I cannot even pretend that the movie The Shining is better than the book, in my opinion. Like it's not even there's not even a close comparison between the two. The movie is it. I really think it's a standard that I hold for horror, because it's very clear. Like, and also like you read about the things like I'm again. I don't condone anyone being a monster, even if they're making art. To to be a monster, you don't need to be an artist. You don't need to be a monster. Some artists are monsters, and I don't condone any monstrous things that people do. But it's just like you can tell that people in that movie were pushed to their limits with their performances. It shows because there is a level that you cannot act. You have to be that character and you have to be in that space in order to sell it to a certain extent. And that's really why Hereditary is. I don't. I know a lot of people want to jump on it. Hereditary is, in my opinion, the best horror movie made since The Shining, because it's the only one that I have seen that I can tell everyone involved was on the same page of how into it they were. Yeah, they broke the main actress in the shot. That's what I mean. Like they broke her. Like that is, it's not good, but also it's just like I can't imagine that as an actor or an artist at the time, if you appreciate what you're making, like I would assume that that's the kind of art that you want to make. And I don't know her enough to know that that's the case, but with, like, you know, Hereditary, with everything being, you know, much more, I don't want to say a much safer place to work, but now we have shit going on, you know, when people make movies, to make sure that no one gets mentally like abused. It definitely helped the film. I don't like the method. That's it. Like I don't like the method at all. It's not a good method, but I think that some of the best art comes from people breaking. Um, when you are broken and you see the things wrong with yourself and wrong with the world, I think you are the most honest. Um, and in a horror movie, especially, you can see it in spades. It's just it's true horror. And Hereditary, the scene with Toni Collette, like you don't even see Toni Collette, you just hear her, and it's just like I cannot believe. And the same thing with Florence Pugh in Midsummer. You can't act broken. I think it's something you can only experience. That's it. It's the only time that I have experienced that since The Shining, of just seeing like these people are broken. And like Mr. Lloyd is a teacher. He is. I could crawl there. It would take a while, and I wouldn't like it. But he's in a building like right over there, and he was one of my wife's like teachers and her advisor at college. And he does not talk about it. And a lot of people I think that they're like, man, he got so messed up by that movie that he doesn't want to talk about it. And I don't think it's that. He did that when he was a kid. He barely, you know, I'm sure it was very traumatic, but he's lived his entire life since then. And I think that's it. I think people put too much emphasis on, oh man, he's just still messed up. It's just, he's a teacher now, man. He's not talking about The Shining. He's trying to teach you whatever his class is about. So it definitely can go different ways. But the scream that Florence Pugh does, or the wailing, it's not screaming, it's wailing. And it is really different. There is a difference between like a wail of dread, like it feels like someone is broken and the pieces are falling out of them. And it sounds that way because you can tell that the noise that are coming out of them is not safe. It's not a safe. That's the kind of noise that you make that literally permanently fucks up your vocal cords. You can't do that and not give part of you away because of just the sheer baseness of it. And I'm just insanely impressed by both of those actors. Like they're just amazing. But yeah, that is my little tangent about horror and The Shining. I don't think that, you know, it's not good by any means to push people to their breaking point. But at the same time, I can't stress enough that it's in the event that an actor is doing that, not the director. I don't see a problem with an actor doing that. It's not healthy, and they need to make sure that they're very safe, or at least have the means to try to be safe. But I think that there's just no alternate, like, oh, kind of faking it. You can't fake that. That's it. Yeah. No, good discussion though. Yeah, you can't act broken. You have to have some kind of reference um, to to properly show that. And I don't think that you, even if you're like, oh, I'm acting, I'm tapping into that well. You, I think that's just someone keeping their demons in. Like they have them in check and they're aware of that broken state, or it has to be pulled out of them, and that's not cool. Um, I can't stress that enough. It is not cool to break people for your movie or for your art. Now yourself, yeah, but I can't stress that enough. You have to be responsible with that, and you have to be, I think, transparent. You have to say, hey, yeah, this is how I made these things, and it fucked me up. And it's not a healthy or a safe thing to do, and I would not do that to someone else. I think I guess that's the best stance on it. Yeah. But yeah, those movies are absolutely life-changing, like horror movies. And they're why they're some of my favorites. But The Shining is definitely it. It might be my favorite horror movie. Like, and I think that's so with my coworker who does not care for the movie because of how different it is than the book. Is very big into like spiritual horror and stuff like that, which is very much along the lines of what The Shining is, whereas The Shining movie is about a man going insane. And it makes it, yeah, the place is, haunted or whatever. But the biggest focus on that movie is the character Jack, and him just losing his mind in isolation and self-doubt and all those things. And it's just horrifying. It's a horrifying story of an artist who I don't even know. I don't even know if it's a story of an artist. It's someone trying to make art, but also it's just, man, the guy's messed up. But the horror elements of that movie are just nuts. Which I'm trying to remember. There was some reference or a nod to The Shining in Weapons that I read about the other day, or Kelly read about, and she was telling me. I don't think it was the room number. I think it was the house. I think the house, the number, it's not the same as the room in The Shining, but maybe it is. I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, Weapons is one that Kelly and I have really, really, really enjoyed. I would love to see that one again soon. We watched something the other day. I don't remember, but it made me think of, oh, it was someone said, "Oh man, that was the scariest movie that came out last year," and I was like, "I don't think they saw Blink Twice." Like, that movie is horror all the way through. Witchhammer Studio. Oh, hey buddy. Yes, I have. Hey, Witchhammer Studio. Shout out to my boy. That and Together. Yeah, I did see Together, and I did really like Together. Together was great. There were some things like I didn't. I'm not like, man, I can't wait to watch that immediately again. I would watch it immediately again. But it wasn't the same as like Hereditary, where I was like, do you want to watch that again tomorrow? Because I want to look at all the things that I couldn't look at, because I saw enough stuff in the like corners of my eye that I'm like, man, the attention to detail is nuts. But I'd like to just kind of look around while I watch the movie now that I know there's a bunch of stuff hidden around in it, which was definitely something that I really liked about what was the show where they just had a bunch the haunting not the haunting of, yeah, the haunting of Hill House. That's it. I really enjoyed that the first series, um, first season, and I can't stress enough my one of my favorite parts of that entire thing, and that is horror. Is not to spoil anything for anyone, um, but it's not. It's their presentation of ghosts, of this ghost in particular, is my favorite because of how. And yes, I did see the trailer for him, and we are excited. I don't remember if that's the one. Pretty much, if I find out that it's from the person who made Barbarian, I'm in. Which is, I'm pretty sure, one of the whitest kids you know. Trevor, not Trevor. Trevor? No. Did Trevor die? I don't remember which one it is. It's one of the whitest kids you know. It's Abe Lincoln. Um, now you fucked up. Now you fucked up. Which that is said in my house a lot. Uh, I did not know about the whitest kids you know until my wife showed it to me, and it's just like, holy shit. The pitch black humor is I'm here for it, and then it's just of course people. I think Johnny and I literally were talking about that. Bit neck twist is gnarly. That motherfucker had me ugly crying. Trevor died. Yes. Okay. Sorry. That's we were talking at one point in time about. Hey, who would have thought that someone really funny could make. Oh, okay. Bye, Mowgli. Um, uh, back to my. Have to have my break. Okay, gotcha. Enjoy your break. At I think it was when we were on our way up, or maybe it was at Adepticon. I don't remember. But we were talking. No, it was when we were on our call. We were talking about. That's when I found out. Yeah, you told me. I did not know that was a guy from the Whitest Kids You Know. Johnny is the one who told me about that, and my mind was broken. And it's just like, that makes sense. And he's just like, yeah, I know, right? And it's just like, yeah. And it's so funny because so many people are like, man, I don't know why, how like the funny guy can like do horror so good. And it's just like, because he's the funny guy. it's you can't really get black humor, I don't think, without really seeing horror in stuff. And I think, yeah, that I everyone who was part of that show, I bet could make some real scary shit. Horror and comedy are all timing. That's it. It's timing. Like that. That's it. And I cannot stress enough. I'm not going to spoil anything for anybody. I'm just going to say that in Weapons, there is a scene towards the end that only somebody who, like, you can make horror and not be a comedian. You can make horror and not choose to show the and baked beans. Yes. The Still need to see Weapons. Oh man. So there's a part at the end, and this is not a spoiler, but it's very clearly like, okay, it's so over the top that it's supposed to be funny, and it just keeps going and it just keeps going, and then people in the theater are laughing, and I'm just like, I can taste it, because I'm just like, they have no idea, like they don't understand like what he's doing right now. He is making you feel safe in a movie that you thought that you couldn't feel safe, because something that we're about to see is going to be so fucked up, and then it happens, and you're just like, holy. And it's just, again, it's the timing, it's the setup. Comedy is one of the best ways to set up horror, because it makes both hit so hard. And I appreciate someone who is very, very capable, at both of those things, just like no holds barring, showing you what they want to show you. It's always just very, very, very impressive. But yeah, that is my take on comedy and horror. They go very well together in doses. But then also too much comedy, and you can end up making a movie that doesn't come off as scary. It just is like, oh, that was a silly movie. But again, I think that you can tell that the director put a lot of himself in the movie, because there's just, I don't know, there's just so much clearly symbolic, underlying stuff, and then I've read some very brief interviews where he talks about it's like, yeah, I did this to kind of process some stuff, and that is, I think, the best. Being able to like use your art or your medium of choice to deal with your own stuff is the only kind of therapy that I really know. But sharing it with other people is really, it makes it to where it's just like, you know what, okay, instead of just having trauma, it's just like I want to turn that into something that could be good. And you can't do that if you just keep it in. I think it needs to be shown for others to help them, you know, try to go through. Otherwise, you're still just kind of letting it own you. And I'm not saying you have to profess. It's like I think openly saying, hey, this is how I feel, and knowing that you're not the only one that feels like that, and someone could benefit from that. That's a big step for personal growth. Is accepting that you know I've learned from my experience, and I'd like to impart that wisdom, any wisdom gained. I like to see it. So I'm in an unrelated film note. I got to see the Grimdark film at Nova this weekend. Oh shit! Is it good? Did you like it? Was there a lot of dim boys in it? I feel like there was a lot of dim boys. A lot of any boys that we know. And by dim boys, I mean just any of our friends, regardless of. Yeah. So it's great and very respectful. Wonderful. Okay, that. And again, I think we were both worried about that. She's like, I really don't want it to be lots of boys. Okay. See, I assumed it was all the boys. Like, and by that I mean I don't mean like anything just males. I mean like just the boys, like as in orcs. It's like, yeah, that's the crew. Yeah. So no, that's great. That's great. That is wonderful. I'm very excited to see it. I need to see it. When does that come out? Have they put out a date yet, or is it? My worries were calmed. That's it. Yeah. Like I know we were both worried because it's just like it's a lot to try and show and try to explain, and not diminish what we do, which I was trying to explain that to Sam. It's just like I don't ever want to come across as egotistical. I don't ever want to come off as egotistical, but there is a difference between a lot of the stuff that I see touted as grim dark that does not, it's not the same, because it's very clearly, they get the concept, but they don't understand, I guess, the art that the people that really love it and have been making this stuff for years, they don't understand the connection that I think that we have to it. I'm not sure they were still, okay, cool. But yeah, and I'm not like, oh yeah, I don't think they get it. It's just more of, you can make something look like something, but if you don't understand why that person works that way, it will not have the same effect, because there's just, everyone's so complicated, and the people that like I think of in the 28 community that have defined the aesthetic in my head, emulating is not something that I think you can understand how they do it and why they do it, and you could learn their craft and move from there. But trying to just do the technique that they've developed from a very specific reason, and how they work, it's a huge Blanche homage, covers a ton of the correct stuff. Okay, that's wonderful. And I was talking about John Blanche last night. Well, it's just like it's very clear. He makes concept art, and it's not his drawings. He can be extremely detailed, but that's not what he sets out to do. He's setting out to put something that's, I think, blasted into his brain onto paper, and it's often messy, but that's how you have to just get it out initially. And you can go back and you can refine it and stuff, but if there's just constantly more things going in your head, you're like, I have to get that out, you don't go back. You keep moving forward, unless it's something really important, and you're like, no, I need to finish that up. And there are definitely pieces like that. I mean, the cover of the 3rd edition rulebook is one of my favorite Blanche pieces, only because it's my entry into the world of grimdark. It was the first thing I saw that I was like, what is that? Um, and I remember taking in the picture and looking at all the little strange guys that weren't Space Marines that are just holding banners and stuff, and thinking about what's going on with them. Like, I know the rest of this story. There's a big fight going on, but how did we get here? How is all this connected? Um, Now it be burnt in your brains. That's it. Like it's just burnt in my brain. Oh no. Well, time to do the basting. Boop boop boop. The basting. Where did my basting brush go? There it is. Which one of you done took my baster? Which one of you ate my which one of you ate my donut? That's what it is. Or just, you ate my candy bar. Patrick, you already ate yours. It's all over your face. You ate my only food, and now I'm gonna starve. Did you really watch the morning hangout if you didn't hear a SpongeBob quote out of context sometimes? Because it just happens. That's just kind of how I am. That's kind of how my household is. If you don't like really know SpongeBob, you're gonna be lost in a lot of things that my wife and I just say. You can be like, I don't know what are you guys talking about? Like, oh, it's SpongeBob. SpongeBob. Love SpongeBob. Basting all the time. Get back on there. Gotta get this paper real wet. Welcome back, Mowgli. Good to see you. Someone might be having a hairball upstairs. I'm gonna go check on that, which is convenient because I also have to pee. I will be right back. I will put the BRB screen on. If you don't drop a sponge reference, that's when we gotta assume you're a pod person. Really lies gone. Sponge boy, me Bob. Oh fuck yeah, Rob. Hell yeah. No, that's it. Yeah. If I'm not talking about SpongeBob or I don't say something kind of weird, uh, man, if I come out and I'm normal SpongeBob, I'm a pod person. Like that. That's pretty. Oh man, my coffee's still good. I gotta pee. This is how you don't pee. This is how I end up never peeing again my entire life. I'll be right back. Down. Boo-doop-doop. Sorry, that was probably loud. I'm gonna give you guys the BRB screen, and I will be back in like 5 minutes. 1 second. We're all goofy goobers rock. I had a missed call. Oh, yeah. It's about a doctor's appointment I have on 5th. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna try not to let this clip too loud. There we go. Yeah, sorry about the real loud pop there. The microphone definitely sometimes is a little bit too loud unintentionally on my part. Yeah, that also made me think about another one of my favorite parts in the movie that we say all the time, say it all the time. But yeah, that's what the hell's going on in here? Hey, Dan, you okay? It's just, it's in Reanimator. It's my favorite scene in Reanimator, and it's when the security guard he goes to do something, and then he comes back, and that's how he comes in the room. And I've got it saved on my phone, but I don't know what all it shows. But it's just a couple seconds. But he comes in the room and he goes, "What the hell's going on in here? Hey, Dan, you okay?" He changes character on a dime, and the delivery I can't see that and not laugh every time because it's such a quick change that it just seems so not real. It's really good. No, all that hard work. Oh, there's another one. What the hell's going on in here? Hey, Dan, you okay? There's another one. I'm trying to think that we laugh at all the time. Say that all the time. I think we're going to need a little more super glue. Just a smidgen. Breathe. Come on. My super glue is just like, dude, you've got two. Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, that's also, I mean, that's also great. It's the same thing where it's just like, it's not intentional, but you just took a scene that was going to be really, and that's, I think, the difference between like, again, like horror guys can be really funny unintentionally sometimes, but when it's intentional, it's just like, oh boy, it's golden. And the room is that's a different beast altogether that I don't know how to even properly begin to think about that movie. It's wild. It's art. And it is a wild ride all the way through, from the copy paste scenes to the guy that like clearly is one of the best actors in the film, just like the drug dealer that like gets like carted off to jail and is just fine with it. He was gonna kill someone a moment ago, and then he's just like, "Fine, I'm going to jail." it's just crazy, but I'm here for that. That's fun. Oh boy, these fingers are real creepy, and there's a lot of skin to tuck under here. Gots to make the little skin suit for grief. Otherwise, you can't go out and party. You're never going to let you in the ball without some skin on, grief. Lay some skin on me, fat cat. I didn't even mean to put in a reference to the aristocrats here. It's art has to be the worst thing to hear. I'm sorry. It's my favorite is when Tommy tells his backstory and his entire demeanor changes, and you can tell he's just talking about his actual life. Yeah, it's. I can't stress. I do think that movie is art. I don't understand it. It's just so. I don't know, and the thing I don't know. I legitimately don't. I'm always impressed when it's just like I don't know if this is a bit. I don't know if that's part of the bit, because as someone that likes really convoluted jokes, like that are multi-leveled, part of me is just like, is that what he's doing? But I don't know. I do not know. I do not know this one. We watched Romulus last night, though. Again, Sam had not seen it, but I was a big fan. A lot of good practical effects. And we were also talking about it's very weird when they choose not to use practical effects. And I don't know why the choice was made at certain points, but then they put so much time into others. And I guess it would be just time. But Rook, I really think should have been like a puppet, not CGI. I think that's the only real complaint I have about that movie. Because just the amount of work that they put on practical effects for other things, I'm just like, man, I know you could have killed that. Instead, it just kind of it seems stark, and you can tell a difference. Um, it seems like he doesn't fit, if that makes sense. Budget as well. Have you been watching Alien Earth? Nope, but we are going to start. It's his version of the billboard of your son. I can't stress enough. That's what I think. I think Tommy Wiseau's The Room is the same convoluted joke level as like it's just a billboard of my son, and it doesn't say anything. It's just him on the freeway looking at you, and you're like, I wonder what that's about. And I think that's every time that I think about The Room, I think I walk away with, I wonder what that was about. What are they on about? Uh, I think it was either Trixie or Katya, but they were saying that they're like, I think British people had it figured out. Like they're always saying, "What are you on about?" And it's just like that really does describe. I think when I see something that I'm interested in, but I don't understand, it's just like that phrase puts together like, okay, I know you're talking about something. This is clearly a thing, but I don't get it, and I am curious. What are you on about? Good morning, Gardner. Welcome. I have not been watching Alien Earth, Johnny. We just signed up for like a week or whatever of Hulu to do that. But yeah, that's where Romulus was. So it was just like, well, let's kill two birds with one stone. We were kind of waiting for it to all be out so we could watch it before taking the plunge. We definitely like to do that. Twisted Metal is one that we've been enjoying lately. Now that we are out of shows of Forrest Galante saving endangered nightmare animals and other just endangered animals, now we are pretty much like, okay, what are we going to watch? Twisted Metal. Okay, now what are we going to watch? Because now we're out Twisted Metal. Which, as someone who did not play the games, I can highly recommend it. It's very enjoyable, even if you didn't. Maybe even more so. I'm digging. I'm only 3 episodes in. Hell yeah. No, soon I will be caught up. But I've only heard good things about it, and so had Kelly. She was like, no, it's getting a lot of good reviews. Which I think I ranted about this yesterday, but I'm still like, every time that like I go to look up like, I wonder what this movie like got, I'm always like baffled when I'm like, man, that's a really good movie, I really like that. And then I go, and this one I'm simply referencing The Man from Nowhere. I would never have guessed how high of a rating that movie has on everything that like I use to judge a movie. Like other people's like, okay, it's probably worth my time. Because that was one that's just like, okay, I had referred to me from one of those, hey, I really like this movie, what else should I watch? And that was one that popped up. Probably Old Boy. Probably like, hey, I'm looking for a vibe like Old Boy. What's going to give me that? And they're like, yeah, you tried The Man from Nowhere? And she's like, I have not. Oh boy, that's it though. It also, I think, coincided with the time period. My wife and I love Donnie Yen. Just, I'd like to watch him punch really fast all the time. And I can't stress enough, like as someone that like has no attachment to the Shanghai Knights like franchise, seeing Jackie Chan and Donnie Yen fight each other is one of the things that I was missing in my life. I've watched it all 3 times through. Oh, Peaky Blinders. So Peaky Blinders, we stopped watching at, I don't remember what season it is. It might be the last, or it might be the one right before the last. I loved Peaky Blinders um, for a lot of seasons, and then it kind of almost started to seem like it was getting Game of Thrones-esque, where I'm just like, I feel like we're just doing the same thing over and over again, and there's not really much plot or character development. And then we just kind of stopped. But it's shortly after what's his name gets sent away, and I'm not going to ruin anything for anyone who hasn't watched it, but I love Cillian Murphy as an actor. He is such a good actor, in my opinion, and he typically is in things that I enjoy. I guess that's a better. But yeah, 28 Days Later was my first time seeing him in any movie, and I was just like, that guy's a good actor. Just there's so many parts in that movie that really, I'm like, man, his acting is so real. Like, he is in a very not real situation, but I believe he's a real person in that situation. The scene where he goes to get cheeseburgers is my favorite scene in that entire movie. And I think it's, I fell asleep halfway through the intro song every time. Love Nick Cave, but it does make me sleepy. Yeah, that's also, I love that they had a Nick Cave song on there. And then a lot of people are not, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I have to watch it with subtitles because I can't understand what they're saying. And I'm just like, I don't even get that. What? But I also realize that I've become very used to a Cockney accent from Warhammer, specifically orcs or anything like that. It's just like, I understand Cockney and I like it. It's good. But yeah, I also love the time period. It's whenever they show anything or make reference to World War I in that show, I'm always very excited to like see how they depict it and never let down. Also, Tom Hardy is very good in it. Yeah, I enjoyed the show very much. I do think there was just a time period though that like I got more out of it than what I currently feel like I get. All right, grief. What's going on here? Man, that paper felt real crinkly. This paper's all kinds of crinkly. It's Crisp Crinkle up in here. Crisp Crinkle is one of Margot's alternate identities or personas. It's kind of like our our house's version of Santa Claus. It's like kind of like if Margot put on a really big Margot costume, like her face shows through it, just like this, but it's like her putting on it. Oh, Memoirs of Argisha is a very good movie to fall asleep to. I've not seen that, but it made me think of Memories of Murder, which is, if you're looking for it, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. That movie is phenomenal. It's, if you're looking for like a gritty, dark thriller, I don't know of a better one. But it's the same guy who made Parasite, and you would not guess that because it's not a horror movie. I mean, it's a thriller. It's about these two cops looking for a serial killer, and it's based on a true event. But man, it's filmed beautifully. The characters are real. It really sells the story. It is master level storytelling, and I cannot recommend it enough. So yeah, if you're ever like, man, I need a real intense like thriller. I want to feel like dread and on the edge of my seat. Like, man, I don't know where this can go. That one. I did not expect that movie to be what it was. and it is very highly regarded. So I don't know. I'm always very certain reviews. I take with a grain of salt, and then other reviews I'm like, okay, well, if it's appreciated on that level for this, and these are the movies that it like, you know, people group it in the same group as, it's maybe worth my time. That was one that I was like, holy shit, I was not prepared for that. That is phenomenal, a phenomenal movie, horrifying. It is horrifying. It's a thriller, but the elements of horror that are so present like in it, and that's what I think the difference between a thriller and a horror movie is. It's just like the thriller, it has a story that it's following. Horror movies do too often, but the horror of it is not the main. The main focus of the movie is a whodunit, like it's two cops trying to find a serial killer, and the horror is in the realness of it. They craft such a real place, to where everything feels real, and that's what makes it so horrifying. I'm glad you've already started with the goblin green on the base here. Subliminal as hell, sir. Stick glitch. Gotta do the morning bowl, BRB. All right. Yeah, I did not even think about that, but that is very funny. That it does have a goblin green base. When Grebo came in, and Greeblin, technically, both of them, the first roll of like basic filament that they give you is green, and I think black, green and white, green and black. And they switched it up because now they come with like some carbon fiber laced like stuff as well. But yeah, we need to base this more. Come on, get real sloppy. Ooh, baby. That is definitely another part of just like how I work is it's going to be messy, and all the stuff kind of bleeds together, kind of like paper mache as far as demons, with the skin and the clay and everything else. But the glue in this also, it adds like firmness. It builds it up. So it's like not just, oh, I'm just getting it wet. It's like I'm getting it wet, and also it's all absorbing glue to help it like kind of stick to itself. The key is just making sure that it goes where I want before it dries. Otherwise, it does not work, and I have to do it again. So. Alrighty. Grief. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Grief. Slop them up. Sometimes you just gotta slop them up. Slopping hard or hardly slopping is what I always say. Also, I wanted to touch base on this. I did not realize that, and this is going to be a big thing for me, where it's just like, okay, well, I'm not a fan of that. I'm going to be working on setting up the fourth wall today, because I'm not really feeling the Patreon, and the OnlyFans. While I really want to be here for the bit, Clay brought up a very good point that he's just like, yeah, I don't know how people are going to feel like having to scan their license and stuff. And I was like, I did not even know that was a thing. So like, one, I'm not down with that. Not that I don't believe in, making sure that your age. I don't want to make it any more difficult for people who want to support me. And especially if it's just for a bit, it's just like, that's a little too much. And it's too much work on my part. Like, I really want to, and I can't stress enough, I don't want to put all my, eggs in one basket, and then given the state that I live in, then be like, OnlyFans is blocked, you can't even use it. And it's just like, man, I don't even make porn. I just I often hold up stuff that kind of looks like a dick, and I talk about how I like Ariana Grande's music, and yeah, that's about the extent of the explicit of my content. And then I had a good laugh about that yesterday, because it's just like, man, I can't stress the joke of my art is that it's like the dick flyer from Always Sunny, where it's just like is that a dick? It's like, no, it's a bicep. And it's just like, the words were just, again, nothing sexual. It's just like, I don't make sexual content. But everything that I'm working on kind of has a lot of psychosexuality to it that I explained for you to understand where it's coming from. It's all the intent, but it's just trying to explain that in words is also very difficult. UK does that stuff now, I think. Yeah, and that's so Dark reached out to me. Don't you have to give a credit card or something? Yeah, I think the license is only creator, and so they aren't distorting CSAN. Yeah, it's only creator in. So okay, I don't know. I haven't had this guy in my ID yet. Jerk the Greek yet. That's yeah. I do not remember having to scan my license for OnlyFans. I don't know. Okay, well I'll look into it. I guess that was another thing is like I don't know if even like some countries have access to that, because I think Dark said, he was like, yeah, with the UK, like that's not, a lot of people like me who want to support you like can't do so if you go with that route. And it's just like, I really cannot stress enough, even for like a bit, it's just not enough for me to be like, man, if people want to support me, and I might do it later, but it just I absolutely want to set up a place that if someone's like, hey, I appreciate you, I want to show you support, I want to make that as easy for them as possible, because it is hard to support people in a way that is helpful sometimes. And I want to do everything I can to make sure that I've thought about that, because I truly appreciate it. That's it. And also, just with all the other things that Fourth Wall has dialed in, it's just like, I have wanted to have shirts. I wanted to have stuff that, I constantly feel like I'm like, man, that's funny. I'd put that on a shirt, or I'd put that on a sticker. And it's just like having somewhere that's just like, yep, you can do all that. And then like, you don't have to make the shirts. Like they have someone that does that. And then it's having that all in one place, I think is just the most practical for everybody. Yeah, I think the license is only great. UK is definitely going totalitarian for the next generally, or for the net generally. Got to go verify for fucking Xbox now. Or got to age verify for Xbox. That's nuts. Coffee seems like a cool app to help as well. I started a printing store on merch. Hell yeah. No, okay, all that. Yeah, I need to, and that's the other thing is like, I constantly, and that's really what made me okay to. What made me finally like click in my head, hey, it's okay if people want to support me, because I've done that. Like I've done that for years, like where it's, oh, I love this person's art, I want to support them any way I can. I'll send, I'll be on their Patreon, or I'll buy anything from them whenever I see them make something. I love to do that because if I love your art, I love your art. And I think what finally clicked to me is just trying to show that the most important thing that I truly think people have is their time. It makes it seem like, okay, well then I don't need their money. And it's just at the end of the day, it's just like, I have everything I need. I need more time, and I get more time by not having to worry about paying just my bills, because like I have everything else that I need to do the thing that I want to show people. And then the same thing with commissions. Like I definitely want to do commissions because a lot of people have asked for that. And people have asked, how do you do what you do? And that's such a long thing that's just like, I can't just tell you how to do that. I have to show you the process. But that does not just happen naturally. I have to do the thing and then film it while I show you. But then that makes it to where I make these giant 2-hour block sessions where sometimes I just go off on a tangent. Eli, Trinity, it's a great proud band for merch. Link, yeah, make merch. Printify, the handle all the print and the distribution. You'll become a time eater, and you will be able to subscribe by giving months of years of your life. It's pretty easy. Yeah. So that's no. I really appreciate. I really appreciate all the feedback. Like, and I can't stress enough. Like, I appreciate people's time. I've just always had a hard time accepting anything other than just like, hey, I like your stuff. Like it's just, I'm really working on getting over that though. But with commissions, I don't like the idea that it's just like the only way that you can show me support other than just watching my streams and stuff is to pay a shit ton of money for something that takes a lot of time. And it's just like, man, if I open myself up to accept the things that people are already just telling me they want to give me because of what I want to give them, then I was like, oh man, I'm dumb. I've been like really devaluing myself. And it's just like, and I feel like that is like almost an insult to them, that it's just like, no, 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 it's, I don't want your money. But that really what it comes down to is the more time that I have to work on the stuff, the better stuff I can make. And I don't have to stop to do commissions to pay my bills. And I can do commissions because that's what people want. And I can show that. But more importantly, just not having to worry about that extra stress, I can finally take time to work on learning how to do a lot of the stuff that I've already purchased. I just need the time, but I'm constantly thinking, I got to do this, I got to do this. So yeah, not down to rant, and it's not a sales pitch. It's more of me trying to be, again, fully transparent, and just, it's taken a long time for me to like make this realization, and I guess value what I put out, or what I'm trying to put out. And yeah, that's it. I like to make sure that I don't do anything that comes across hypocritical, or anything that I don't fully think is the right thing. But I've come full circle on that. So that is why I've been talking about it, because I've just been trying to work through it myself. Yeah. I'd subscribe. Well, thank you, Mowgli. Thanks. Here's a way to pay me. Do it. Yeah, so yeah, I'm going to be working on that. And that's the other thing, is I really think I have a lot of really good ideas for making videos and whatnot that I think people will really like. But again, editing video is so time intensive. Even just that first little video that I made right before I went to Adepticon, it's just like, that was like a day's worth of work, sitting down, trying to write something and then putting it together. And I'm not even like, man, I knocked that out of the park. It's more of a baby's first video for me. But it was just mainly there to be like, hey, if you're there, I am a person who exists, and I'm trying to start doing this. Come find me. But months have passed, and it's just like, I've done a lot of stuff to try and showcase what I want to do. Now I just need the time to do it all. But again, the passion's there, because this is what I want to do more than anything. Like being able to show people how I make what I make, and hopefully answer questions, and provide input on what is and is not worth their time. And I'm out of personal experience, because otherwise that's. And I told my friend Ed that whenever he was like, oh my gosh, thanks for all the feedback. And I was like, dude, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your thing. It's just more of, whenever he was first getting back into the hobby, I told him all the paint brands I loved. I told him all the stuff, like just getting a list of all the things that I do to make what I make, so he doesn't waste his time and his money on other stuff, because you can easily be tricked into thinking, oh, I need that to make this. And it's just like, you don't. I fell down that hole. I don't want you to fall down that hole either. And he was very appreciative, and that made me think, hey, that's definitely something that people need. I'm absolutely not saying like, oh yeah, the stuff that I will recommend will absolutely fix all your problems. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying, for what I do, I have things that I absolutely love. And I would love to share those with people, so they have a good experience as well. You don't really, it's easy to forget the things that you really like. Man, that's a great tool, if you don't think about it all the time. But typically, you remember the things that really don't. And it's just like, I don't want to be just the guy that puts out negativity, which means that I have to instead put out positivity. I have to think about, what do I want to show people that is worth their time? So, intention is everything. Do you plan on decorating stream for Halloween? Oh, 100%. I can't stress enough. I actually, for Halloween, I really want, I want to do a playthrough, Merkborg playthrough of, what is it called? Sickest Witch. It's Sickest Witch, but it's something Hayride. Oh, it's just Sickest Witch Hayride. Hayride is a like Halloween themed, horrifying Merkborg scenario, like, or story that I really, really, really want to run people through that have never played it. I want to make sure that that's something that I can present. Uh, but yeah, I'm absolutely we're gonna be decorating. Kelly loves decorating. I love decorating. So yeah, it's the just finally coming to terms. It's like, man, I think people want what I want to make. They want the content that I am wanting to make, and being okay to finally accept that is it's hard. When you have devalued yourself long enough, and that's a big lesson right there that I'm just trying to like, hey, value yourselves, because I haven't, and it has led me to having a lot of real inner demons, if you will, and now outer demons. Inner and outer. It's what's on the inside, Arnold, not the outside. The inside. Do you hear me? I've thought about what we were talking about the other day with the Arnold, where it was like, man, that show, you got fucking real quick, and it's just like I forgot, but every now and then I'll think about stuff and I'll be like, that's pretty real. Amen. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah. No, I'm very excited. I'm very excited. All kinds of ideas. I never finished Crisp Crinkle. Crisp Crinkle is when Margot puts on a really big suit made out of crinkle material, so it's like real crinkle, so it's all real crispy as well. But it just looks like a bigger version of Margot, and she puts that on, and just like, here comes Crisp Crinkle, Crisp Crinkle, Crisp Crinkle, and like you're not allowed to acknowledge Crisp Crinkle because that brings its wrath, and then you won't get any presents. But that's the Santa Claus in my house is Crisp Crinkle. And that just kind of popped into my head yesterday, and I thought, man, that's a wonderful character. I'm gonna yap about that tomorrow. I don't know what I was doing. I don't remember what we were talking about, but Margot loves crinkle toys. And also, a key part is often the humor of Margot not knowing what she is saying, or at least pretending like Margot doesn't know what she's saying, but very firmly using words and then describing something that's like, that's not what that is. She's like, well, that's not what I said. Yeah, I don't know who Chris Kringle is, but I'm Crisp Crinkle. That kind of a thing. I like that kind of humor. Sam defined it as absurdist humor to the max. And it's just like, well, yeah, I'm pretty absurd. I'm a pretty absurd person. I'm nervous. Yeah. Grief, grief, grief. Everybody likes some grief. Yeah, one of the first things that I'm like, man, that needs to be on a sticker is just a picture of Grief's face, and it just says, grief jokes! Like real 80s. Kind of 80s vibe. So everybody loves them. Grief jokes. We got to push this paper down to hold it in place while the little glue sets. And then we can pull it a little bit further. Got to lather it down a little bit more. So yeah, I apologize that like this is going to take a while just because the Crypt Keeper. Amen. Absurdity punny. The Crypt Keeper. Yeah, it's just, yeah, the Crypt Keeper is absolutely just same vibe. Just like, man, that's some dark humor. And it's like, well, I'm a Crypt Keeper. Everyone that I tell jokes to is dead. Just, Crypt Keeper is good. I never watched, shit, what is that? Tales from the Crypt. I never read or watched Tales from the Crypt as a kid. That's something that like I did not have any knowledge of until Kelly and I met, which is very wild. Because you would think, oh, that'd be his jam. And it is my jam. It wasn't. I just was like this already. Yeah, the amount of things that it's just like, I often like told like, man, you would love this, or man, you must love this. And it's like, I've never heard of that. Please tell me. Yeah, no, there's a lot. I'm a hermit. I'm a hermit, and I'm stuck in my ways, but I'm trying to change. Isn't that right, Grebo and Greeblin? Ah, Greeblin's only got 24 minutes. I do my best to try and make sure that I pick up all the Margot spores and claws and the whiskers and stuff. But often that means that there's only like a day, like where, oh man, I put them all up, and then like the next day it's just like there's another pile on my desk of like miscellaneous cat bits. Then I'm like, all right, I'll let that pile build up a little again, and then I'll put it up too. Crisp crinkle. Waka waka waka. Also, the Crypt Keeper is amazing, like Goosebumps, but dark. Yeah, it's like a darker Goosebumps, an adult Goosebumps. That's it. Man, fuck, that's what it is. Oh shit, and that's what I like. That's what I like try to make. Huh. Fuck. That's some real shit right there, Mowgli. That's weird. That's a wild realization. But yeah, like I love Goosebumps as a kid. I really did. And I loved the little worlds that I could just like kind of escape into, especially the ones that it was like choose your own adventure. I'm pretty sure there was at least one of those that I read. And maybe it wasn't a Goosebumps, maybe it was something similar, but I loved those things as a kid. And it's just like, how do you make that for adults? And it's just like, well, tabletop gaming is the easiest way to like, that I can make people have a fun, safe place to experience like something spooky. So yeah, yeah, that's probably got a lot to do with why I like horror stories. No, so yeah, I read Goosebumps as a kid, but I didn't read too much horror. Well, I won't say that. I don't know. Maybe I started reading horror too young. I definitely think that might have had an impact. Especially, no, I did, because I started reading scary stories to tell in the dark way too early. That's for damn sure. And that is probably where my love of black and white, just ink drawing, I'd say that absolutely almost has to come from that. Why I love it. The detail in those drawings is so in depth and crazy that it's just like, I love it. And also it's just like, gosh, this is horrifying. Who said, yeah, that's good for children? Like, and they didn't keep that stance clearly, because like it was like, yeah, no, all those were pulled from schools. It's like, but I happened to be in schools at the time when that was not the case. And I think I turned out pretty fun because of it, maybe. But other people are like, man, that's some Satan shit. I'm like, well, not really. It's spoopy though. Just say you don't like spoopy. I like spoopy a lot. What the hell's going on in here? Hey Dan, you okay? Yeah, I really don't. I don't want to put more super glue on it because I don't want. We might have to put just a little bit on the bottom though. That way I can get it to wrap and stick, because I don't want this to take years to do what I'm trying to do right now. And it won't. I'm exaggerating time a little bit, as one does every now and then. That's good. Yeah, so maybe, yeah. I'm relying too heavy on that. I need to use the super glue. In my defense, it has been a year since I've made one of these things. But, and that's so much of it, is just trying to figure it out while I go through it. But knowing when something is or is not going to meet the look that oh my god, that's awful looking. That is so good. That seriously looks like just nasty pulled skin. That's okay. Yeah. So we need to put some super glue on the bottom of those. That sells it. I need to really be able to pull it tight, because that finger looks perfect. it really looks like what I wanted it to. Yeah, I really wish that I had documented video-wise. I took a ton of pictures making my demons that I took to Visterion, but I did not make any video. Also, fun things going on in the hobby. Goblands is making music, wanting to put together an album for, grab another super glue, wanting to put together an album for goblin music. And I was like, yep, okay. So yesterday, like seconds after reading that, I was like, all right, I'll make something for goblins. So I made a quick little minute clip of a really dissonant, out of tune, like little guitar riff. And then I went back and I read it again and I was like, oh, you want music from goblins, not for goblins. Because I was like, I know what goblins like. I love goblins. I'm a goblin. So I made that and then I was like, wait a minute. I think they want music from goblins. And he was like, that is correct. And I was like, okay, I'll be right back. I got to go outside. It's raining right now, so this is good. Let me grab my theremin. And that's what I did. I went outside and I made a quick little clip of some music from a goblin in a rainstorm with a theremin. And it mainly involves me chewing on the theremin while it makes noises that ensure that my neighbors continue to think I am a psychopath. The ones that don't really know me, that is. My next door neighbors love me. All the other ones, though, probably think I'm a crazy person. I can show it on here.
This is called Goblin Party in E minor.
That's how you make goblin music. My hands are real dirty. I'm realizing that this is not the best way to present this, but it's the most convenient. And that's that. Theremins. I don't use them in my house, so my neighbors get to hear them. So my children don't. They really don't like theremins. I really wanted to make a noise album. Still do. I still want to make a noise album of just Margot and her theremin, but I have to finish that theremin. That's a theremin kit that was in a magazine it was some Japanese magazine that is awesome, but every month they kind of like deal with some different little thing. And that one, the whole thing was about theremins, and it came with a little build your own theremin kit. So I hunted that down so I could build my own theremin with the little kit. Because when you go to build your own theremin, it's very expensive. That one's definitely more of like a toy theremin, but that's all I really needed. I don't need a theremin that someone can play and convince you that it's a violin. That's not what I'm going to do with a theremin. Yeah, that sounds crazy. Yeah, the Margot album, I have to wire it up so it doesn't make any of the noise. It just like instead of going to a speaker, it would go to an audio out. That way, Margot can just play with a theremin, not know she's playing with a theremin, and I get to record all of it. I really like that concept, and I love the idea of presenting it almost like a smooth jazz kind of picture, like Margot like laying next to her theremin, like, hey, it's gonna be real chill. We're gonna be real smooth. It's like some Kenny G, but it's just theremin. It's just theremin noise. Calling all the neighbors' dogs over. That exactly. See, and it was raining, which specifically I wanted because with it being raining, it definitely plays with the like electromagnetism, I'm assuming, of the theremin. That's pretty much how they work. Also, the chewing on it, because it's just like, I've got some fillings, and I know that when it hits those, it's just like, there's a piece of metal in here, metal and bone. That sounds like a weird combination to me. I'm just a theremin. Boop, boop, boop. Also, I'm realizing now, I don't know how the hell I've not put googly eyes on that theremin. That seems like something that I should have done a long time ago. I'm gonna do something I should have done a long time ago. This theremin needs googly eyes. Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, the super glue on the back, definitely what we needed. Definitely what we needed to make these tighter pools. So it really looks like the skin is just so tight. And that is the whole reason that I started doing cloth for skin, is after using it to try and make cloaks, I realized that they don't hold the shape off of itself firmly enough unless I put glue. But I would rather it be paper, because it just knocks out so many different requirements that I had. It automatically has a texture that is very skin-like, just from how like this paper is made. But I'm pretty sure it's just cardboard. Pretty sure it's cardboard that's just like super pressed into a sheet, or whatever you make cardboard out of. So it just has a lot of an organic feel almost. But then being able to get it wet and pull it real tight to the point that like the ends tear, and then remove those ends, really kind of sells like that's just insanely tight skin. And when you've got any kind of musculature under there, it accentuates it and it looks real. And it absolutely is I don't know if I'd say it's a nod, but it's one of the main inspirations for like, oh hey, how should that skin look for when I make awful big things, is horses. Horses' muscles are very frightening when you really look at them, because it's just like they are so like heavily muscled that it looks like they're about to just like split. And I've always found that very interesting, where it's just like, man, that thing it's just a brick house. Mi casa es su horse. I don't know how to say horse in Spanish, but your horse is my house. It's a brick house. I know how to say a couple different things in different languages. Typically, though, it's all just nonsense. One of my most favorites, they really are terrifyingly strong. They really are, like, just insanely strong. And it's just like, you forget, like, man, if that thing kicks you, you're just probably dead instantly. And that's horrifying, because there's something that like I've grown up with, like being around all the time, and it's like, man, you guys are really comfortable around that thing, knowing it can kill you at any point in time. So yeah, it's just a weird thing to just kind of notice, but not really reflect on. But when I start working on skin, making it real scary, I'm like, man, this reminds me of a horse. That might be kind of why I'm making it like this. Got that real tight skin. Boots with the fur. Sometimes they look like they're wearing little boots. Margot looks like she's wearing little boots. They're socks. More fluffy pants than boots, like culottes. She kind of looks like she's wearing culottes. Yeah. The whole club looking at her. She said Jumbo. Jumbo. That is not wet enough. It's got too much super glue, not enough wet glue. Wow, wow, wow. Alrighty, it is 10:04. I was a little late getting on, so I'm probably going to go till like 10:15 and try to get this as squooshed in as I can. But I feel like we did make progress today. I've got a better step figured out for doing the skin on here. I'm getting it all dialed in. So here's a question for you all. Do you think the fourth wall, I should name it like just RedWetSkeleton, or do we want to go with the Grimdark Distillery? I'm open either way. I'm curious what you all think. Like my YouTube channel is just RedWetSkeleton. The Grimdark Distillery is like the overall idea that I'm trying to make. So I don't know which one comes off better. I don't know. Oh God. Oh God. Why? Why, God? Why? Yeah, horses are scary. Is that what the oh God comment was? Or was it just I need your opinion? Oh God. Could go either way, I suppose. I do like that that's typically, that's almost verbatim how my wife typically says, hey, let me get your opinion on something. Oh, okay, what? I know it's going to be something crazy. Aha! Grimdark Distillery. Okay. That's kind of what I thought too. I was like, huh. Well, that seems right. If that's the thing I'm trying to make. Because that's really it. Like, I'm not the Grimdark Distillery, but the concept is something that I believe in. I really want to show how to do stuff in that style from the point in which I do it, and why I do it. And the why is, I think, the most important part for me. And that's when I look at other people's work, I see the why, and I make the connections, I guess, between ourselves. And I see, oh, hey, I do stuff similar to that. And I know that I do that because of this thing. And it kind of helps me understand them as a person more if they're putting their heart and soul into their work. And by that, it's not typically their heart and soul, but almost, I mean, it is. It's almost their compulsions, their desire to create. When you create for you and just for you, it really, techniques and stuff are in there for sure. You have to know good techniques to be able to achieve what the vision that you're trying to make. Grimdark Distillery is better, but then you run into cross promo issues. Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm just like, I feel like the Grimdark Distillery is good, but just like, how do I be like, hey, I know you guys follow this, but if you want to follow it even more, I go by this name under that. When you make too many different names for yourself, you run into issues. That I can say for certain was bad advice from P. Diddy that I took to heart as a child. Is when enough people know your name, change it, and then change it again. And obviously, he's not anyone that you want to take fucking advice from. I can't stress that enough. But more than anything, I'm like, yeah, I'd like to have a word with you. Like, I remember that Pepsi 1 commercial or Pepsi Zero commercial that you did like 25 years ago. And I took that advice, Diddy. I started a whole bunch of different names, doing different stuff. And then it's just like, man, what if I wanted to combine that? Now they all have different names. You're a crazy person. Don't take advice from him. That's free advice. Free advice from me. And that's the other thing. One of the biggest things that I'm very adamant about with the morning hobby hang. I want to do that because I think people need someone who actually and actively cares about their community and loves what they do and can't not do it. And that's, it's just something that like I know that there are other people out there that do very similar things, but I think it's just I don't have a way to control my passions, in that sense, that it's just like I need an outlet. And if you want to know what I do and how I do it, then the easiest way to do it is just through that outlet. And I think, as I often say, it's the goose flail. You get out what you put in. So by putting out what I love and showing how I do it in its entirety, its extent, and then, if I've got the time to be able to take that and make it an easier process, like shorter videos, not 2-hour long sections, that's a good thing. Just me making sure I'm like, yep, okay. Not trying to hype myself up, just more of a acknowledging value in one's work. Again, take that away. Be proud of who you are and what you do. That's really the whole thing. But along the way, I can show you a lot of weird stuff that I've figured out of how to do, that makes me happy, and I'll talk about it. And hopefully that can help somebody out. Grief. Took advice from someone who took advice from Diddy. I'm sorry, Mowgli. The irony of that, if man, yeah, okay, don't take advice that I learned from Diddy. And that's it. Like that's I mean, a lot of things not to do. You can learn a lot of things not to do from Diddy. Actually, that's all of it. Don't do that. Don't do anything that guy tells you. That's the only one that I took to heart. Because again, hermit, it was just like, that's a great idea, and then I just disappeared. And the next thing I know, when I always am horrified when I mention anyone whose work that I am familiar with or that I know, because it's just like, again, I'm trying to be fully transparent. It's just like, if I say, oh, I like this, and they've done something horrible, please know, I either A, I'm going to specify, yeah, I have no condoning any of that. That's fucked. Or I don't know about it because I'm a hermit. And that seems crazy because it's just like I'm a guy on the internet talking. The amount of places that I go on the internet is so small and so obsessively hyper focused that it's just like I stay out of a lot of the current events. But typically, if it's anything that is real crazy, I find out from my wife or friends or things like that, and I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, if there's anybody that I've mentioned that I'm like, hey, I like their work, I'm talking about the art. I'm not talking about anything that they have done. Just to specify that further. Unless I specify that, oh, hey, I love so-and-so. They're a great guy. They're one of my friends. And in that case, I mean it. And I love their art. I mean it. I guess you do mean it. That's a little thing there for you. It's when they're getting ready to do the blood test. And Clark tries to pull a fast one, but McCready ain't having it. Hey, Mac. If you don't like it, we won't go, Mac. That's what he says. That's what the doc says. That's a completely different quote from the same movie I was talking about. Not in the same area of the movie, but they use the word Mac, and that's where I thought about it. Sometimes you need to make sure that the references that you make, you just really kick them to death and rob any of the humor from it. Explain it until everyone's like, that's not funny. Stop. I over-explain sometimes. I think it's just because I don't want anyone to misunderstand what I'm saying. And if I realize, oh man, I said that and it has like room for ambiguity or like misinterpretation, I'll try to specify that. And a lot of people, I think that that's just like, oh man, okay, I get it, but it's just like it's more of an anxiety thing. Like I don't want what I say or what I do to be misinterpreted ever, because it so often is. It's just that. But I gotta say, like, knowing that like people are watching this, it makes me think about what I say. I think on a better level, like where it's just like, how can I make sure that I'm using the word that I want to, and not a word I'm not firmly certain of. Way. Oh my gosh, that's so much super glue. Yeah, God feels like the stream name since RWS is your personal moniker on others. That's it. So yeah, like, come on, don't put super glue on your tweezers. That's advice. That's from me. Don't put super glue on your tweezers and then put your tweezers in your hair. You will get super glue in your hair. Cut out the middleman. Just put super glue in your hair. Don't do that. You will not like the result. Gosh, that would suck. I've never done that other than just now. And then like, but like never like if you, oh man, I fell asleep with like chewing gum in your mouth and like, oh yeah, the gum fell out and like now it's in my hair. That sucks. I think everyone should do that regardless of streaming provide positivity. Yeah, I can't stress enough. Like I agree with that. It's just when I often try to make sure that I say things as accurately as possible so there's no room for misinterpretation, because our language kind of sucks. Like, and I mean that like, oh no, it's just not another language is better. Like communicating as animals and humans, like it conveying what we are trying to convey is so difficult, and words only get us so far, which one, that's absolutely, I think, why I enjoy video, because you get to hear the audio, you get to hear my inflection, you can see my face, you can tell if I'm making a joke, whereas if it was in written form, you could not get that. And I rely so much on that for expression, which is, there's a picture that my wife, or one of our friends, I think it was one of our friends took whenever I met the McElroys at their book signing. And I'm very clearly telling a story. And the moment that like she posted it, everyone was like, man, I wonder what Eli was talking about, because my arms are up and I've got this look and they're all like, and it's just like, I don't know. I have no idea what I was talking about, but I was telling a story. You can tell because my hands are clearly going crazy. I just talk with my hands. I just do it. I always do. I don't know. I'm expressive. Hence why I wanted the little BRB to be like, be right back, because I just kind of like I send that little emoji to people all the time, the big smiley face and the little hands. It's just, that's just kind of how I am. I'm handsy. See, that's a reference to Grimm's hands. Grimm, Mr. Grimm, Mr. Grief, Mr. Grief. Okay, we're done. I'm on a tangent now, and I'm just talking. I'm yapping. So I think it is 10:17. I'm going to stop here. We did not get as much done as I wanted, but we've got this started, and we got that hand looking good. That hand looks good. I am happy with it. That finger is definitely my favorite. It looks very spoopy, and I'm going to have to go in and tighten this up, probably, or I might end up cutting it to make it match. But that is a job for another day. But today, I promise I'm gonna start working on that stuff, getting that set up. I'm gonna be working on getting the rest of the stuff painted for the Fall of Rothenburg. Same thing with the board. And I'm gonna be getting on that because I really, really, really want to be showing that. Heck yeah, good progress. Yeah, no, thank you so much, and thank you all so much for hanging out with me and keeping me company. Again, say it every time, and I'll say it every time. Your time is your most important and valuable commodity. Like, you only have so much. So the fact that you give any of that to me is humbling, and I appreciate it so much. It really does mean the world to me. So thank you all so much for your time. Be good to each other and to yourselves. Thank you, Mowgli, Roz, Johnny, Possum, Gardner. Let's see who else was on here. I want to make sure I get everybody. I did not get Atri yesterday, but I did say thank you when she left. Mowgli, Roz, Possum, Johnny, Gardner. I think that's everybody who was in the stream today. Yeah, I think that's it. If I missed over you and you only said one thing, I'm sorry. That's what happened with Atri. Atri popped in real quick and we said our hellos and our goodbyes, and then I was just like, and she got lost in the mix. But yeah, want to make sure I covered that. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Be good to yourselves and to each other. Take care. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you all again. Sit pretty.